March 2022. Let's go. Okay, so this is essentially going to be a recap of what's to come on the channel. I'm going to start doing these monthly. I had thought of doing them in a DeviantArt text, but I want to get this out there as fast as possible. I'll probably record some footage a little later just to have something in the background. It won't really have anything to do with anything, just random footage because why not? So, here we go. I should mention that my streaming schedule is still on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays at 5 p.m. EST, at least around those times. Maybe a little later, but no later than, I don't know, depending on the situation, honestly. Living conditions, well, not completely horrible. It's just due to a lack of privacy in case you've been following me for quite some time. Not exactly big, but some things never change, unfortunately, and that's just one of those things that you have to deal with. It's like that old Koi Kitsune video where he was playing a video game and was trying to pause it, but his mama kept calling him, and he says, "Ma, you can't pause a video game when you're playing online, or if you're playing Dark Souls." That's not the point. Point is that I just gotta deal with shit, and if things don't come out exactly as I'd like, then I apologize. So that's that. As far as streaming game subjects are concerned, however, I have just wrapped up Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. I fucking hate that game, and I will probably do another video talking about my thoughts on it, since I know I've gotten to Platinum, and here it is to prove it, in case people want to question me, because, you know, picks or didn't happen. As retarded as that meme is, I suppose it has some merit, when if you don't talk the talk, then why walk the walk? Anyway, but I am not sure what new game to go through at this time. I'm not even really sure, honestly. I can't really think of any new release or anything that's still relatively new that I'd like to go through. I was going to go through Demon's Souls on PS5, which I have one in case you've been under the rocks. But I don't have PlayStation Plus, although that's going to be changed in a couple days, so by the time this is up, it probably won't really be that important, especially those who might have already seen it. But since I really want to start going through that game, because quite honestly I'd rather go through that game than fucking Elden Ring, and I'm not going to go into a half an hour rant as to why I just stopped caring, I'm just going to say fuck it, just play the game I wanted to get for the PS5, and hopefully enjoy myself a little bit more. And that's pretty much it. But any game that pretty much has cloud saving, pretty much mandatory, like Demon's Souls on PS5, which is definitely a remaster and not a remake, I'm gonna have to wait until I get PlayStation Plus. Though there might be on the line, though there might be another game I'm gonna go through. As far as retro game playthroughs are concerned, I am currently going through Ratchet and Clank Going Commando, as well as Sly 3, because I've kind of held off on playing Sly Cooper games ever since Sly 2 just pissed me off. Not particularly a bad game, but I just didn't really like the sandbox mission structure, and I was kind of annoyed that despite the game's supposed massive appeal, it had a lot of holes in it. The missions were annoying as shit. You couldn't replay the missions. Some of the abilities, particularly with the Lightning Cane and the Flame Fists, were massively overpowered. The story is still excellent and the gameplay is certainly playable, but as far as replay value is concerned, it definitely does tank quite a bit. But, that being said, I did also platinum that game as well, and for what I've played of Sly 3 a bit, it actually seems to be somewhat of an improvement, even if the mission structure is a little bit of the same, but it does let you replay missions, unlike the second game, so I do see it as a massive improvement. And there is also multiplayer, though only local multiplayer, but it's still something. The only thing I generally don't care for is that the third game in the series, which was supposed to be the last one, and yet they're throwing in tutorials that are shit you've probably already done, especially since playing the first game. I want to say that Sucker Punch pulled a Mega Man X5, but at least Sly Cooper games are decent, and there hasn't really been a game that really is on that level of Mega Man X5. Maybe except Thieves in Time, but that was made by Sanzaru, and well, Jay definitely hammered it in well than I ever could, honestly. But that will come to, though I'm gonna wait until after I get the other games done. As for Going Commando, I like it. I feel the writing is not as good, and even after getting to the big reveal that the thief is in fact a woman, which I definitely have to wonder why the hell they chose to reveal it that way. It just kind of feels like a very last minute thing where the thief just falls and the armor magically comes off. It's just fucking stupid. But the gameplay seems pretty stellar so far. It's more or less the same as the original, except there's strafing, there's first person aiming, there's even a first person mode, which would be very interesting to actually go through again. They've added in this RPG-like mode where you can level up your weapons, you can use the bolts to gain other upgrades and stuff. It seems really interesting, although grinding for bolts has been a bit of a bitch. And I actually spent, I believe, yesterday and a little bit of today trying to get the remaining weapons I got from Megacorp, which I know there's supposed to be symbolic or some shit, but I really hate how all the ammo pickups look exactly the same compared to Gadgetron from the first game. It might be a story thing, but I just find it extremely lazy. But otherwise, the game is enjoyable. I will have to probably show off the playtime, because I did leave the PSA running on for a couple hours just to get the bolts in the arena. You know, just doing the AFK thing, just walking off every time. It was a little slow, but I did get the rest of the weapons. I'm going to have to hold off on grinding the weapons themselves, though, until I get to Angela's house, since that seems to be the general consensus for the best area to train at. Although I have seemed to notice that depending on what objectives you have completed, enemy density is greater if you haven't completed the objective, and they're lowered if you have completed the objective, which, unsurprisingly, has been kept intact along the series, and even when playing through Rift Apart's challenge mode just to get the weapons to level 10, which don't really seem to make much of a difference unlike 2016. It's kind of bullshit, but regardless, I'm going to basically try to focus on completing as much as possible. So, unfortunately, I'm going to have to power through Ratchet and Clank 2, Going Commando, until I get to Angela's house, and hopefully getting to that point where I can farm that enemy that seems to give a lot of XP, because I really like to have my weapons ready for challenge mode, which I hear is quite a bitch. Bolts shouldn't be too bad. I'm sure there's going to be some post-game thing, like the Impossible Challenge that might be decent, or whatever method there is to getting bolts. But I'm going to really try not to, grind too much, because I definitely want to get to the end game and stuff. Apparently there's a glitch you can do with the first person mode. That requires beating the game first, so that'll be fun, but we'll see. But right now it's definitely going to be something, and I really look forward to playing Going Commando as well as Sly 3. And yes, after I finish Ratchet and Clank 2, I will immediately jump onto the third one, and I'm also going to start getting the other games on PS3 as well. Although, I'm going to have to wait a couple of days until I actually get those. And there are going to be some PlayStation games that I've been wanting to get as well. But it's just going to take a while to figure out how I'm going to handle March. But I have been playing TimeSplitters 2 and Future Perfect as part of the Xbox One backwards compatibility library. And although I'm kind of disappointed they did not let you play them on Xbox 360, it is just as good as playing them on Xbox One. And I have been mainly going for the story mode and hard, since those are the biggest hurdles for unlocking content in the game. If you actually see my streams, I've been a pretty bitchy boy when it comes to TimeSplitters, and that is because it's mainly the game's hard mode that really brings out the rage within me, especially when I played it back in the day. And unfortunately, not much has changed. I just have a platform in which to bitch and moan at, because the game's hard mode is pretty bullshit. Though I will say that while TimeSplitters 2 is definitely the more difficult game, I do feel it is surprisingly consistent. While Future Perfect, you take damage really quickly, and the time you take damage, the DPS basically from the enemy side, you get lose health really fucking quickly. And not to mention, I got screwed over, I think, in the level I played on, the Perfect Dark inspired level, because there was a health kit I've got to pick up in the women's bathroom. And yes, there is an actual health kit in a women's bathroom, and you're playing as a man, so put two and two together. It's I kind of got fucked over, and I kind of got mad about that. But as far as the level progression goes, I am now on the Wild West level for TimeSplitters 2, and I am also on Eugenics on Future Perfect. So I'm kind of about halfway through the games. Although the last stream I did was doing 2 levels on TimeSplitters 2, since the levels are relatively short, although really bullshit, especially Return to Planet X, which is surprisingly really hard in the first half. And then when you get to the checkpoint, it's nowhere near as hard, though it can still fuck you over. And Neo Tokyo, I kept making some of the dumbest mistakes ever. Well, I can't admit some of it was my fault. It's just playing it correctly can be really difficult because of the lack of health. And surprisingly, the Neo Tokyo is one of the only levels besides Robot Factory that actually have health pickups. And this is kind of goes back to my point about the game, is that if they at least included an extra checkpoint, you know, maybe before a boss fight or something, it probably wouldn't be nearly as bullshit, but that's just the way the cookie crumbles. And considering that GoldenEye Perfect Dark did not have any fucking checkpoints at all, and those games are actually much harder, especially the original TimeSplitters, which we don't talk about that one. I can kind of see why they were kind of lax on giving checkpoints, but it is appreciated. But holy shit is those fucking games hard, honestly. If people want to compare these hard games to Dark Souls, get out of here. Those games will make you fucking cry, but you'll come out like a man once you've gone through them. I just kind of wish I could use my original save from the original Xbox, but I have no means of getting those saves from the system because I don't have the exact tools to read the data from the original Xbox, although that will change. I just need to wait a couple days. So that's that on the streaming side. As for uploaded works, I have been trying my hardest to find the old dormant projects I have, and I actually have quite a bit of them actually. I'm going to list off some of them actually. And in really no particular order, at least according to my documents folder, because sometimes Sony Vegas loves to automatically redirect the folder here. So I do have some projects I need to finish working on. So first of all, Blast Semester 0, 1, and 2, in case you can tell, yes, they have been heavily in dormant state because I just couldn't find the time to record the footage, though maybe tomorrow or this week I will definitely try to finish editing the footage I have and finally get around to commentating them. I am really sorry for this project that's been so stagnated, and especially with not really making much progress in doing the 03 guide, even though I have talked really high about it, but unfortunately shit happens. The PC wipe happened, which basically I had to reset my settings and stuff. It was just not happy, and then other stuff just kind of prevented all this shit happening. Although I will probably do a video talking about the series, since it is going to be turning 5 years old later this year, because the original came out in 2017, and I really want to do a video talking about it, because I generally do love the Blast Master Zero series. I may play through 0, 2, and 3 on Xbox One, since those are the only versions I've yet to get the achievements on, so that might be used as footage for my gameplay. Although I'm a little more further in 0, 2 than 0, 3, but regardless, I will be playing through it, because I do believe them to be my favorite modern trilogy of games out there right now. And even though I don't really play them as much as I should, the times I've spent playing them is just really fucking good. And I really hope that Inti Creates will do something great with the series. Maybe do a Blasting Again reboot sort of thing or whatever. Not necessarily a reboot, but continue the story. But Blasting Again was essentially a continuation, although nowhere near as interesting. But we'll have to see what happens. Maybe keep the classic 2D gameplay, but having the continued story. But maybe the series will continue, but if not, I will say that the trilogy's been really good. I just hope they don't run it down to the ground like Elden Ring or Metal Gear Solid 5, or even after the shitstorm there was Metal Gear Solid 4. It ended on an absolute higher note, and there was no way you could top that ending, even if it was, in most situations, a completely shitty retcon. But, you know, if people think that episode of Futurama where Fry wants to spend time with his mother, then people will probably look at the relationship between Solid Snake and Big Boss the same way. Even if they were sworn enemies, and with the counter side of that, Fry and his mother weren't really bonding in the same way. I mean, for God's sake. She was more into sports than her own son. But whatever. Feelings are feelings. So, other projects included but not limited to a Cuphead Expert S Rank Guide and Walkthrough. I have started recording some footage for that. I need to put together the commentary and the editing process, but that will come soon. I actually have uploaded them, but they're unlisted, and don't go bother looking for them because I'm not that big enough to where I can accidentally leak links caught in 4K, so don't do that. I'm also going to be working on a Doom 3 Nightmare walkthrough for the Xbox version, and I actually have just finished going through Resurrection of Evil on the Xbox 360, which is the version I'll be playing. I might play the original Xbox version as well. I have to see if I have the save for that as well. I'm not really sure, but I do like to have a backup so I can play the original game, have Nightmare unlocked, since for some reason there's no cheat code that lets you skip a level, unlike the original release, which is kind of annoying. I'll also be doing 2 other variants of Doom 3, or at least, yeah, just Doom 3, not Resurrection. I'll explain in a second. I want to do a pistol start guide and walkthrough where I go through each level one at a time, since Doom 3 on Xbox actually does a level select, though it acts like the console command release on PC where you spawn with preset weapons, but because the game has a level skip code, you can technically cheat in a way, and I actually have a save where I just have the pistol with the basic ammo that you get and other stuff, so that would be fun. And I have manipulated the game in certain ways to do that. Those will be based on the levels from the level select, while the regular guide will try to emulate the Doom 3 release on PC. And I'm also going to do a co-op guide, because there is one on YouTube, but it's only for single player. I don't want to show off the entirety of the game, though I can't really go to specifics on when that will come out, but it will be coming out soon. And I would do similar guides to Resurrection of Evil, but unfortunately the game does not have a co-op mode, which is really weird since Doom 3 had it. I have been working on a Jak 2 and Ratchet and Clank guide and walkthrough. Those are the games I actually have the most progress on. I'm actually at the very end of the Ratchet and Clank game, the one to PS2, but I can't seem to get past Velden right now, though I will get around to recording the commentary and will upload the footage whenever and then make the videos public when the thing is ready, so stay tuned for that. Same thing with Jak 2, although I've only got to the first act where you get the minigun, or chain gun if you want to be a badass about it. I have not recorded footage since, unfortunately, but it'll get there. I have been wanting to do Halo 1 and 2 on the Xbox, playing an Xbox 360 and Legendary, but because you die a lot in that game, the footage splicing is going to be a real bitch, and I need to redo the commentary because when I check the footage, I've only had a little bit of it, so that's not really fun. I also have started a Jet Set Radio Future guide and walkthrough, but again, I haven't really played that much of it, and I'm not quite sure how the copyright will work, but I'm going to get that out there, hopefully. I do have it set to private, but I haven't really made much progress in that, though I probably will be playing that on off days, because I really want to play that game again. Unfortunately, the beginning of the month, for me at least, is usually the most busy, so I can't really guarantee when these will come out. But I will be making up for it in the meantime, hopefully by getting other rants out there. I have fun doing video responses, but considering how people can be such anal about, the way you criticize someone, I might just use something like speech notes and convert the audio and recording into DeviantArt posts, which I will be using once again. And one last thing I wanted to mention, I am going to start eventually making a Google Doc public, a Google Drive folder public, where I have a bunch of game saves for various games and emulators. I will list off a couple of games that I have been working on as of late because I want to show off the stuff I've been working on. First of all, for some of the games, in no particular order, I have a bunch of DS saves, particularly with Advance Wars Dual Strike. Let's see, Tetris DS, because that game is always interesting. Advance Wars Days of Ruin and Dark Conflict. And I should mention, by the way, I will be working on that Advance Wars video. Just give me some time. I think the game comes out in April, so that'll be fun. The Sonic Classic Collection with Sonic 3 and Sonic 3 and Knuckles. Let's see. Alien Infestation. For GB in particular, I do have a couple saves. I am working on a Blackthorn save where I have all the levels. I'm going to have like a bunch of different save files for this where each level has a save point because the game doesn't have a level select. I'm going to have a bunch of, I think it's like, 17 levels, I think. So there's going to be 17 different saves and then another one that like has a level select of sorts. You can jump between them, I guess. I have recently gone through Medal of Honor Infiltrator, so there is a complete save for that. I'm also going to work on a Rockman Zero save, the Japanese version of Mega Man Zero, since for some reason there's no game saves on GameFAQs that has hard and ultimate mode unlocked. But because you can't use the codebreaker codes to get all the elves, I'm going to have to go for the game legit, and since you can actually miss a good number of cyber elves, that'll be a little side project of mine. I also have a save for Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 on GBA, the USA and Europe version. So that's great. I have found all the gaps. So every cheat code is unlocked and the high score is not affected in any way whatsoever. For PlayStation, I also have a bunch of other games as well. The Gundam Battle Assault games, as well as the Japanese release, which for some reason had 2 releases, but whatever. Again, the high scores are not affected, so that's good. 007 Racing is going to be another one I will make public soon, since I want to have the all the levels marked as completed, because even though you have all levels unlocked that are not marked as completed, and I've been actually using Cheat Engine to basically modify the scores so that they don't affect the high scores in the high score menu, so you're essentially going to be getting a level unlocked, but also marked as completed so you can use the cheat codes. So some of them are actually pretty damn fun. You can even go on a New York Rampage and give me a break in mission where you download the data from the limos. It's honestly kind of great. But more or less the ladder mission, because you don't have to worry about the breaks and whatnot. I've also been working on other saves as well for the PS2. I'm going to actually start playing Shadow of the Colossus again, because I remember having a PNATCH file, which is essentially the cheat code section, where you have the files done, or the file modifying the time attack data and stuff, because when you go for the game again, you can actually pick just the bosses, so that might be an incentive for me to actually play the game again, but we'll see. Bloody Roar 3 is also another game I've been using, because I wanted to have a save that doesn't affect the character usage, and here is a screenshot to prove it. So I do have the characters done. The 2 boss characters unlocked, as well as Tribe's Aerial Assault, because I don't think anyone really wants to play the campaign, but not that it really matters, and I actually have done a Let's Play that a long time ago. Also, the Metal Gear 1 and Metal Gear 2 save for Subsistence for Metal Gear Solid 3, with both games marked as complete, so you can go through the game in, with the bandana, which is the normally an item in Metal Gear Solid, but they chose to add it in the MSX release, so that's cool. Also, now I'm actually curious if I could use the PNATCH data to modify the high score in Contra Shattered Soldier, which I might do, since I really want to get a nice clean save of that as well. I might actually take care of it once I'm done. For Sega Saturn, I actually have a bunch. X-Men Street Fighter, Virtua Fighter 2, Vampire Savior, Sonic R, Resident Evil, all that stuff. As well as Mega Man 8 and a bunch of other fighting games that Capcom has made, which is great. Even the Street Fighter Collection, Capcom Generation, Die 5 Shu. I probably mispronounced that, but whatever. And finally, the Sega CD. I only have 2 games so far, but it's Eternal Champions and Sonic CD as well, because I wanted to have a complete save for those as well. Though apparently there is a save edit for Sonic CD, and the only one I need to work on is the Sonic Gems Collection, which does have Sonic CD, but I can't quite figure out how to complete the last level and stuff without it not crashing, so I'm going to have to go through that at some point. I also have a bunch of PC games as well that I do want to hopefully get out there, but I think they're tied to a profile, so I'm not quite sure how that's going to work, but it's just it's really no shortage of game saves I want to get out there at some point, because I know that there's some sites that let you share game saves, but some such as GameFAQs don't let you upload saves of various games. like the Sega CD or the Saturn, only game saves I've supported. So I don't know if there's a way to actually make them like that, but I'm gonna go a little more detail in a separate video. But that's just a short taste of that, if you want to call it that. But that's gonna be it for this video. I'm gonna have to do a lot of trimming, but I hope you enjoyed my content update for March 2022, and I hope that this month will be really good. So I hope you've enjoyed my little ramblings, and I hope you look forward to my stuff. Thank you for watching, and take care.